Live from beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida, it's the first race of the second season of the NASCAR Celsius Cup Series. It's the biggest race on the schedule, and it's the Great American Race, the Daytona 500 at the Daytona International Speedway. 43 drivers have qualified for today's event, and this race is sure to be exciting, because after all, it is the Daytona 500. Let's have a look at our starting lineup for today's race. Darrell Michaels qualified on pole position, but because he was involved in the big one in duel number 1, he will have to drop to the rear, so David Quitnar, who qualified second, will be rolling off first. This will create a huge shakeup in the starting lineup. Anyways, row 2 consists of the two duel winners, Julius Anderson and Brett Wilson, both of which drive for Joe Gibbs Racing, as the coach was able to sweep the two duels. And how about Hudson Chaffee starting 5th? He finished runner-up to Anderson in his duel. We got some other not-so-big-name drivers starting in the top 10, like Chris Beasley in 7th, and Shazane Rana starting 8th in his Cup debut. Rounding out the top 10 is our defending Daytona 500 champion, Ryan Labonte, alongside Cody Ballard. Both RFK racing cars are starting inside the top 10. As the next 4 drivers after that are all Chevys, as Joshua Smith in the 38 was able to race his way in, but he will be going to the rear since he did get some damage in that big crash. But a couple of drivers that were able to make it through the big one and have secured top 20 starting positions were Donnie Owens in the 43, who starts 17th and is the highest starting rookie in the field that's competing full-time this season, and Josh Drake in the 78 for the underfunded Live Fast Motorsports. That small team's getting a good start for their first Celsius Cup Series race, lining up alongside defending champion Jackson Patrick, who completes the top 20. Charisse Fells also with a great starting spot in 21st, as she was able to get the final transfer spot, as she also avoided the big one, as she lines up alongside Mason Clements in 22nd. But however, all the remaining drivers on the inside lane, from 23rd to 43rd, will have to drop to the rear because they were all involved in the big one in duel number 1. You see guys like Casey Nanako, Dylan Baptista, one of our rookies, Steve Gates, Michael Webb Jr. They weren't very lucky, as they had to go to backup cars, and they'll be dropping to the rear. And we got some other big names starting deep in the field on the outside lane, like Eric Keplinger, our Season 1 Talladega winner. He's starting 32nd. We also got Alistair Cole in 36th and Bruce Jenkins in 38th. Then it's John Gambit, John Doe, Frodo Maras, who flipped in the big one in duel number 1. Then it's Dalton Bauman in 42nd, and rounding out the field in 43rd is Carl Yaley. A trio of drivers failed to make the field for today's Daytona 500, most notably Blur Diaz in the 08, as he was involved in the big one in duel number 1. In addition to him, Darwin Chad in the 52 for Rick Ware Racing also failed to make the field, and the last driver to fail to qualify was Jack Ning, who finished top 10 in last season's Daytona 500. He will not be competing in it in this season, unfortunately. As now the field is getting ready to take the green flag in front of a sold-out crowd. The pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn on the pit road. A Ford was scheduled to start on pole, but now it's a pair of Toyotas on the front row. The green flag is in the air. The Daytona 500 is underway. Already 3 wide per second as Owen Miles goes down to the bottom. Now he's trying to take the lead away from David Quitnar, as he's getting a push from Chris Beasley in the 6th. Miles is going to clear Quitnar for the lead as they come out of turn 4 for the first of 60 times today. Owen Miles is going to lead the first lap of the Celsius Cup Series Season 2 Daytona 500. Now Beasley's going down to the inside. He's got a push from his fellow Ford teammate Shazane Rana. 3 wide for the lead as they head into turn 1. Beasley's going to clear the field, though, as Rana in his Cup debut has pushed him out front. Now we got 3 Fords on the inside lane with Cody Ballard behind Rana and Beasley. 2 of those drivers are teammates, those being Beasley and Ballard. Now Rana's going to go down to the inside. Can he take the lead away from Cody Ballard? This is incredible, as now those 3 blue ovals are going to go 3 wide for the lead. How about Shazane Rana running second in his first Daytona 500, battling for the lead with Cody Ballard on lap 2, as it looks like Ballard In the RFK Racing, number 16 is going to lead the second lap of the Daytona 500 as here comes Trey Smith down to the inside for the lead. He drove for Chip Ganassi Racing in Season 1, but that team was bought out by Trackhouse Racing, so now he's driving for Trackhouse. As by being able to clear Cody Bauer for the lead, Trey Smith becomes our 5th different leader we've had already on lap 3. Right behind Smith is the 21 of Chase Powers, driving for the iconic Wood Brothers. That team is the oldest one in the sport and has won the Daytona 500 5 times in the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, most recently in 2011, when Trevor Bayne pulled off the upset and became the youngest driver to ever win the Great American Race. He was only 20 years old at the time, and now Powers has fallen back as Jackson Patrick has moved up to second. Trey Smith is going to lead the third lap of the 500. And that bright yellow Menard Chevy, which started 12th, is looking strong already. As we got a whole lot of 3-wide action right behind the leaders, as here comes Jackson Patrick, the defending champion, down to the inside, trying to take the lead, as now he clears the 40. Jackson Patrick is right where he left off in Season 1, up front. As he's got Darren Daub in the 42 right behind him. He's trying to go down to the inside. Can he take the lead away from the champ? As here he comes in that brand new number 42 Toyota for Spark Motorsports. Going down to the inside, trying to take the lead away. Can he do it as they come out of turn 4? Yes, he will. Darren Daub, the new leader of the Daytona 500. Well, I thought he cleared Patrick, but they're still side by side. But Daub's going to lead the lap, though. As here comes the 37 of Darrell Michaels, who is scheduled to be your pole sitter. He qualified first, but was caught up in the big one in duel number 1, so he had to drop to the rear, and he's already made his way up to the front. And so has the 4 of John Doe, who started 40th. An abysmal start for the SHR driver. He's already made his way up into second. As Stewart Haas Racing is going to be shutting their doors after Season 2. So we have no idea where their drivers will end up after this season. As we got 4 wide for third as Alistair Cole trying to squeeze his way in between James Stapleton, his teammate, and Michael Hobbs. And now Cole's going to be side by side for second with his teammate Stapleton. But look who's in fourth. That's Joshua Smith in the 38 driving a 4th car for Daytona Racing. While his teammate Blur Diaz failed to qualify, Smith was able to make it in. However, he still had to drop to the rear because he did get a piece of that big crash. But now he's in the top 5 looking for a great run today. As he's now competing part-time in the Celsius Cup Series, as he did compete full-time last season, but now he's been bumped down to a part-time role in a 4th car for Daytona Racing, trying to make the most of it, as he will be running half of the schedule. As our race leader, John Doe, goes up to block Alistair Cole in the 12, Joshua Smith up in the 3rd, trying to take it side-by-side for second, as we got more 4 wide right behind the top 3, which is very shocking because this usually doesn't work out at Daytona. You can do it at Talladega quite easily, but it's tough to do at Daytona as it usually never works out. As here that comes to the line, John Doe is going to be the first driver to lead multiple laps here at Daytona, as Cole is still right behind him in second while everyone else is 3 wide. Now Cole goes down to the bottom trying to take the lead away from Doe, as that Penske number 12 car is looking strong, and it looks like he's most likely going to clear the 4 of Doe. But look who's in second and third. That's Frodo Maratz and Carl Yaley. Now they're trying to work together to take the lead. These 2 drivers started at the back of the pack. Carl Yaley started dead last, and Frodo Maratz started 41st. And now they've made their way to the front. Frodo Maratz takes the lead of the Daytona 500. Remember, he was the one that flipped upside down in that big crash in the duel, and now he's up front. And Carl Yaley is right behind him in second, and he started dead last because he was also involved in the big one. As it looks like part of the pack is starting to ease up a little bit, we still got some 3 wide back in the pack, as Matthew Ingram in the 65 for Colleague Racing has made his way up in the 3rd. How about that? Ingram's competing full-time in the Gillette Series for Colleague Racing, and he is running a limited schedule for Colleague in the Cup Series. He will be splitting the number 65 with Tom Jonas and Eli Bright. That is a non-chartered full-time entry, but he was able to lock himself into the Daytona 500 during qualifying, so he didn't have to race his way in. In other words, he was locked in through his qualifying speed, and we got a crash! Matthias Watson gets turned in front of the pack, and he collects Matt Earnhardt and several other drivers. This is the big one, happening on lap 8, and it will bring out our first caution. Here's a replay of how it unfolded. So as the field was heading into turn 3, the 9, the 1, and the 80 were all bunched up together, and then the 9 of Matt Earnhardt came down on Landon Smith Jr., and the 1 and he ended up turning the 80 of Matthias Watson. I think I finally pronounced his name right after butchering it so many times. As you can see, that was a pretty hard hit into the outside wall by Matt Earnhardt in the 9. And then you see Watson getting into the wall after being turned by Smith, who was able to escape all the carnage. And then after that, all heck broke loose. As you see, the 19 of Clements getting caught up in this mess, as well as the 42 of Darren Daub. Donnie Owens in the 43 gets a piece of it. And so does, I think, Ryan Labonte might have gotten hit by Owens. As you see him getting into the 35 of Gambit. There's the 99 of Suzanne Rana. Look at Josh Drake in the 78 getting up on 2 wheels and almost going over. As if he's Joey Chitwood or something. Here's the wreck in real time. Man, what a disappointing end to the day for some of these drivers as it comes to an end before the end of Stage 1. As a plethora of drivers were caught up in this big crash on lap 8. As you see from another angle, all these drivers behind the mess are trying to slow down. Darren Daub in the 42 wasn't able to do so as he slammed into the back of the 19 of Clements, and then he got turned around along with the 16 of Cody Ballard. There you see Owen Miles, Darrell Michaels, and Hudson Chaffee trying to slow down so they don't get caught up in this wreck. Here's yet another angle. As you see, it looks like the 9 and the 1 got loose, and the 1 got sandwiched between the 80 and the 9. And like I said, LSJ was luckily able to make it through this wreck without a lot of damage. But sadly, you can't say the same for Matt Earnhardt and Matthias Watson. As there you see Darren Daub into the back of Mason Clements after he got into the back of Earnhardt. And then everyone just starts piling up behind them. As there you see the 78 of Drake getting up on his side. He didn't get too much there, but it was a significant amount. Here's one last angle of the big one. This will give us a better shot at what happened to the 35 of Gambit, as it looks like he got into James Stapleton in the 94. Just barely sideswiping him a little bit, but luckily he's able to continue, and so is Gambit. But now that the wreck has been cleared up, we're getting ready to restart the race on lap 13 of 60. We're going to have 8 laps to go in Stage 1. Frodo Marat is your leader as the field approaches the Geico restart zone. The Daytona 500 is back underway. The green flag is back in the air. A nice smooth single file restart as John Doe goes down to the bottom, but problems for Jonathan Mick, one of our rookies. It looks like the 62 is blowing up. There's the pace car. But anyways, a tough break for Mick in the 62 as his Daytona 500 ends up in smoke, and he will be out of the race early. Frodo Marat continues to lead the race with Cole in second as the top 4 are single file. Frodo Marat is still your leader with a trio of Fords right behind him. There is a pair of Chevys side-by-side for 5th, those 2 drivers being Michael Hobbs and Matthew Ingram. As the field heads into turn 3, here comes John Doe trying to make it underneath Carl Yaley. He wants to pass another Penske driver as he wants to take the lead. And here they come, side-by-side for second, right behind our race leader, Frodo Marat. As John Doe in the 4 is up to second, he's right in front of Alistair Cole, and it looks like the 12's going to try to push the 4 to the lead, or not, as Doe moves up in front of Yaley. As so far after the restart, there hasn't been a lot of 3-wide action as everyone's side-by-side. Whereas at the beginning of the race, everyone was 3-wide, making their way from the back to the front. It appears as though the field has calmed down a little bit as we got 7 to go in Stage 1. Frodo Marat's in the 49, still leading the field. He's been doing a great job so far maintaining that first place position, right after having to start from the rear after flipping his car in duel number 1. And even though we're still in Stage 1, Frodo Marat really wants to win the Daytona 500. The last driver to win the Daytona 500 after flipping during qualifying was the late Cale Yarborough back in 1983, winning the Great American Race in a Harley show car that he used as his backup car. And Otts wants to be the first driver since Yarborough to do that as Michael Hobbs in 24 goes down to the inside, trying to take second away from Alistair Cole. As we got a little bit of 3-wide right behind the 3 leaders. As Steve Gates is now between the 5 of Dylan Baptista and the 4 of John Doe, it looks like the 11 might be getting sucked back, as that is not a good position to be in on a super speedway. They call it the sucker hole for a reason, because you get sucked to the back of the pack. As here's the 18 of Brett Wilson getting a strong run. He's going to get behind the 24 of Hobbs and push him up to second, clearing the 12 of Alistair Cole. Now can he try to take the lead away from Frodo Marat? As here they come to the line. Otts is still leading. Michael Hobbs has cleared Cole for second. There's a little bit of three-wide mid-package. Here comes Brett Wilson with a huge run. He's going to take him side by side for second as he goes underneath the 24 of Hobbs. Now, can he get to the back bumper of the 49 of Otts and help out a fellow Toyota driver? Or will he make a move for the lead as Otts has a bit of a two-car length lead over the field? Remember, we've said this time and time again, but you do not want to get too big of a lead on a super speedway because the runs will come from everywhere. As right behind the 18 of Wilson is rookie Dylan Baptista, the defending NASCAR Gillette Series champion. He's moved his way up to the Cup Series, driving for Rick Hendrick in the number 5 Napa Chevrolet. He's trying to make his presence known and impress Mr. H in his second Celsius Cup Series start. He did make his Celsius Cup debut at Talladega in Season 1. He finished 15th in that race as he's making it 3 wide for second as he goes underneath Brett Wilson and Michael Hobbs. He's trying to make an impression on everyone in his first full-time season in the Cup Series. He's got the 11 of Steve Gates right behind him, and behind Gates is another rookie, Carl Yaley, who started dead last and has made his way into the top 10. As Baptista has cleared the field for second, he's right behind the 49 of Frota Marat, who has led the most laps so far, as he's been out front since lap 7, and nobody has taken the lead away from him ever since. But Baptista is trying to break Otts' streak of laps led, as he's right on his butt as they come out of turn 4. Baptista has had some success here at Daytona as he won the Season 2 Gillette Series race here, that being his first career Gillette Series win, and he went on to claim the title for Season 2 in the Gillette Series, and here he is now, a rookie running full-time in the Cup Series for Hendrick Motorsports. It's his first full season in the big leagues, and he's currently runner-up right behind Frota Marat. And now he's sandwiched between 2 Toyotas as Steve Gates is right behind him in third, as we got a 2-car length gap between Gates and 4th place Carl Yaley. But I bet you Yaley's going to close that gap as it looks like he's got a bit of a run here. As here comes the 4 John Doe right underneath Brett Wilson for 5th. 3 wide right behind them. As we don't have a lot of time left in stage 1, as once they cross the line, it will be 2 to go before the green and white checkered flag. As here they come to that start and finish line, 2 to go in stage 1. Can Frota Marat hang on, or will Dylan Baptista steal it from him? As Carl Yaley got a little bit out of shape, as now he's on the bumper of the 11 of Gates. As here he comes down to the inside, side by side for third. Can Yaley clear the 11 for third and get behind fellow rookie Dylan Baptista? And will the rookies work together to help get the win in stage 1? Or are they just going to play it cool and let the 49 earn himself a playoff point? As the 11 reclaims third from Carl Yaley, and now they're side by side once again. Here come the 4 and the 24 trying to catch up. As look at the lead that the 49 and the 5 have over the rest of the field. Those runs are going to come from everywhere, though. As here they come to the white flag in stage 1. 1 lap to go. Who's going to win the first stage of the season? Is it going to be Otts, Baptista, or someone else? Here comes Dylan Baptista down to the inside. He's got a huge run. He's going to take him side by side for the lead as they head into turn 2. Dylan Baptista, the rookie for Hendrick Motorsports, trying to make a statement in his first Daytona 500. Can he clear the 49? They're side by side for the lead down the back straightaway. Neither of these drivers have any help, as both of them have a huge lead over the field. As here comes Carl Yaley in the 22, trying to catch up to the 2 leaders. He's got a huge run, and so does the rest of the pack. How about Cameron Davison in the pink number 86 in the top 5? Everyone's trying to get some stage points. Here they come to the line. Is it going to be Otts? Baptista, Yaley with the run, and it's Otts by nose, taking the stage 1 win. Frota Marat's speed weeks have gone from upside down to right side up as he wins the first stage of the season. Here are your stage 1 results. Frota Marat gets a stage win. Dylan Baptista barely finished his second. Carl Yaley, who had a run at the end, comes home third. Cameron Davison with a great run coming home 4th. Brett Wilson 5th. Michael Hobbs 6th. Alistair Cole 7th. Aiden Caldwell 8th. Eric Keplinger 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Julius Anderson. Now we're getting ready to restart on lap 21 of 60. This is the beginning of stage 2. Frota Marat on the inside. Dylan Baptista on the outside as they head to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Stage 2 is underway. Carl Yaley and Dylan Baptista, the 2 rookies, are on the outside, as here comes Brett Wilson, the 18, trying to get behind Frota Marat and help out his fellow Toyota teammate. But Carl Yaley jumps up in front of Wilson, and he blocks the 18. as it looks like Dylan Baptista is going to be hung out to dry. But luckily, his teammate Michael Hobbs is a few car lengths back. As here comes the 86 of Cameron Davison having a great run early on in Stage 2. He came home 4th in Stage 1, and he's trying to bring that Miller Motorsports number 86 to the front. But here comes Brett Wilson in the 18 getting a push from Alistair Cole. And it looks like Wilson's going to get to the back bumper of Frodo Maratz. As here comes the 18, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, Brett Wilson. The winningest driver from Season 1 with 2 wins is looking for another win and a strong start to Season 2. Side by side for the lead as they head to the tri-oval. Dylan Baptista is getting sucked back on the high side. As it looks like for the first time since lap 7, we have a new leader. Brett Wilson takes the lead away from Frodo Maratz. And so much for that, as here comes Alistair Cole down to the inside. He takes the lead away from Wilson, but here comes Cameron Davison looking strong in the 86 car. Looks like he might try to get to the back bumper of Alistair Cole and help out a fellow Ford driver. As Cole has cleared the field for the lead in the Daytona 500, but here comes Eric Keplinger. He's a strong super speedway racer. He won at Talladega in Season 1. He's got Steve Gates in the 11 right behind him. As the world's biggest Michael Walter fan takes him side by side for the lead, his teammate Ryan Labonte won last season's Daytona 500. Can he get another Harley J. Earl trophy for Carnation Motorsports? As here comes Steve Gates down to the bottom trying to make it 3 wide for the lead. And here he comes. He's got David Quintanar in the 75 right behind him, another Toyota driver trying to work together. As here comes Gates in the 11 car. Didn't have a good Season 1, but he's looking for a strong Season 2. And now they're side by side for the lead. It's Keplinger on the high side, Gates on the inside. And here comes David Quintanar trying to make it 3 wide for the lead once again. As he's got a strong run. This is the most 3 wide we've seen since the start of Stage 1. As once again, they're 3 wide for the lead. It's 2 Toyotas underneath the Chevy. As Quintanar is going to clear Gates for the lead. Quintanar finished runner-up in last season's Daytona 500, but he wants to win it this season, as he's going to lead this lap. As everyone else is 3 wide, right behind the 75, David Quintanar goes up to the middle, and that's going to open up the door for Bruce Jenkins in the 48, as he goes down to the inside with the 40 of Trey Smith giving him a push, and the 48 is going to take the lead. Another one of the Hendrick drivers is out front, as he clears Quintanar for the lead. Meanwhile, Frodo Maratz, who's led the most laps so far, has been shuffled to the middle of the pack. He's now like 15th or 16th or something. As here comes Chase Smith down to the inside. Once again, another lead change as Chase Powers on the 21 gives him a push. But here comes Michael Labb Jr. down to the inside, 3 wide for third. And Smith is going to clear Jenkins for the lead. Driving for the new Trackhouse Racing, Trey Smith is going to lead a lap in the Daytona 500 as he tried to go down low, but Michael Labb Jr. is right there as he might try to take him side by side for the lead for yet another lead change, but Trey Smith is still cleared out front. Not anymore. Here comes Labb side by side for the lead, and he's going to take the lead from Trey Smith. Labb, another one of the SHR drivers whose career is in jeopardy since Stewart-Haas Racing is shutting down, and we got trouble. Joshua Smith of the 38 has spun out coming out of turn 2, and the caution's going to come out. The 38's going to straighten out as he's most likely headed to pit road. Let's find out what happened as we look at a replay. So it looks like there were 4 wide at the back of the lead pack, and it looks like the 6 of Chris Beasley squeezed into the 38 and sent him... Oh! He got into Aiden Caldwell in the 3, and the 3 got into the outside wall, and so did Joshua Smith, and he goes around. Caldwell keeps him straight, and so does Beasley. You see Caldwell getting into the wall again. So it looks like the 3 car got some damage in this wreck as well. As it turns out, this was a multi-car accident. Not a big one, but only 3 cars were involved. As you see the 38 of Smith sliding down the back straightaway. Here's another angle. You see all 3 of those cars getting into each other. 2 of them getting into the wall. Beasley might have a bit of damage, but should be fixable. Same with the 3 of Aiden Caldwell. As Joshua Smith, in that 4th entry for Daytona Racing, was able to race his way into the 500 while his teammate Blur Diaz in the 08 failed to qualify. Here it is in real time. Yeah, the 6 of Beasley just came up on Joshua Smith, and that sent him around after he collided with the wall and Aiden Caldwell. As you see one more angle. 4 wide just didn't work out as the 6 of Beasley came up into the 2 Chevrolets and sent them into the wall. Smith slides down the back straightaway while Caldwell got into the wall again and kept him straight. Now we're ready to restart. Casey Nanako is your new leader with Hudson Chaffee in second. Green flag back in the air. Jack Lawton, the 41, who restarted third, goes down to the inside. He takes Trey Smith with him. And how about John Gambit in the 35 running in the top 5? He's another one of the Daytona racing entries. He's a rookie in this series who competed in the Gillette Series in seasons 1 and 2. And after losing his ride in the Gillette Series, he's decided to move up to Cup, driving the number 35 car. Not the biggest team in the garage, but he certainly is an underdog as he's running in the top 5. A great run for the rookie, as it looks like he's going to push the 40 of Trey Smith, a fellow Chevy driver, and the 40 is going to take him side by side for second, as Jack Lawton's up on the high side. Casey Nanako is still your leaders. We had a little bit of 3 wide, as now the 60 of Hudson Chaffee, who restarted second, is getting shuffled back, as here comes the 40 of Trey Smith side by side for the lead through the tri-oval, and the 40 has a good run. He's got John Gambit in the 35 right behind him giving a good push. Will the 35 of Gambit try to make a move for the lead? He's going down to the inside. How about this? John Gambit, the rookie driving for Daytona Racing, is going for the lead in the Daytona 500 in his first Celsius Cup Series start. Now here comes your scheduled pole sitter, Darrell Michaels, who qualified first but had to go to the rear. He's going for the lead now, underneath Gambit and Smith. And now, looks like John Gambit's going to get sucked back through the middle, as Darrell Michaels has taken the lead, with Julius Anderson, last season's pole sitter, right in second, with Steve Gates right behind him in third. Steve Gates' teammates with Julius Anderson, as it looks like those teammates might try to work together. Will they, though? As here comes Julius Anderson down to the inside for the lead in the Daytona 500, with Steve Gates right behind him in second. Oh, not second, third. And now Anderson clears Michaels for the lead, as he's going to go up to the high side, as we now have a Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2, as Chase Powers in the 21 moves up to fourth. Can he get behind his Penske-affiliated teammate in Darrell Michaels and try to give him a push? It doesn't look like it, as he's got Trey Smith on the outside, as Steve Gates is going to abandon his teammate and go for the lead. Such great teamwork that is. I'm being sarcastic, as Gates is going to clear his teammate for the lead. Well, it looks like he had him clear for the moment, but when he does clear him, will the 2 Joe Gibbs Racing teammates continue to work together as they're side by side for the lead? Can Steve Gates get in front of the 20 and work together with his teammate to try to win this stage? But Anderson is going to clear Gates for the lead, as Darrell Michaels in the 37 is pushing him. Now Gates has a run. It's the side-by-side battle for the lead between the 2 JGR drivers still, as we got a 4 driver, or a couple of 4 drivers getting into the mix, Michael Lab Jr. and Chase Powers, as Michael Lab Jr. is getting a push from the 65 of Matthew Ingram in that colleague racing entry. Anderson, still your leader of the Daytona 500. He's still cleared the field. Now, looks like he's going to go down to the bottom and try to block his teammate. As behind the leader, we got a pair of double foul rows, and everyone else is 3 wide as Anderson continues to lead the 500. He's still out front, but here comes Darrell Michaels down to the inside. What a huge run from the 37. He's going to try to take him side by side for the lead in that Jiffy Lube Mustang. As he goes down to the inside, like I just said, he's taking him side by side for the lead as they head into turn 1. Steve Gates, right behind the 37, he's going to push him to the lead, as Michaels grabs the position where he was scheduled to start. Now will Steve Gates get in front of his teammate Julius Anderson, as it looks like he's not going to do that, as he's going to try to take him side by side for the lead down the back straightaway, as right behind him trying to give him a push is the 14 of Michael Hobbs. Now side by side for the lead once again as Steve Gates trying to reclaim the lead from Michaels. Now Anderson trying to go up to the high side, trying to get around the 37. Looks like he's not going to do that. As they're side by side for the lead, it's a Toyota driver for Joe Gibbs Racing and a Penske Ford. As Julius Anderson goes way up high, he better get back in line before he gets sucked back to the pack. And that looks like that's what he did as he gets in front of Casey Nanako, another Toyota driver, which could be a benefit to the 20, as the manufacturers could be working together, or maybe not, as Nanako goes down to the middle, right underneath the 20 of Julius Anderson, as his teammate Steve Gates is still leading. As here comes the 37 of Michaels again, and we got a crash in the back. I believe that's the 50 of Paul Brandonson Jr. spinning like a top down the back straightaway after slamming into the outside wall. It looks like he got hooked by somebody. Let's look at a replay of what happened. So Brandonson was running 27th at the time, as you see, The 86 of Cameron Davison, his former teammate, was right behind him. It looks like the 50 and the 86 were trying to form a two-car tandem, just like it's 2011 or something. And it all went wrong as it looks like the 86 hooked the 50 and accidentally turned him into the outside wall. Pretty significant lick by the 50, as right after he hit the wall, he started spinning like a top down the back straightaway. I hope he didn't get dizzy after that. But the driver of the number 50 car for the Money Team Racing, co-owned by Floyd Mayweather, is okay after that crash. He's out of his race car and done for the day. It is a tough break for him because he's running a limited schedule in the Cup Series this season while he runs full-time in the Gillette Series for Our Motorsports. So we don't know how many starts Brandonson's going to make this season, as he did run full-time for Miller Motorsports in the number 57. That team shut down. The team still exists, but not the 57 car. Here's another angle in real time. What a wild spin for the 50. You spin me right round, baby, like round. Sorry, I just had to. And here it is again. You see the 86 right on the bumper of the 50, trying to get a push. The 50 went down a little bit. Then he tried to go up. Sorry about that little camera mishap right there. And it looks like he accidentally turned him. That's not good. He's probably mad at Brandonson for leaving his team. I doubt that, but, you know. Anyways, Paul Brandonson Jr. is okay. He's no longer in the race. That wasn't the hardest hit, but still a lot of damage to the 50 car. Here's one more angle. You saw the 50 coming right at you at that angle. And now we're getting ready to restart. As the pace car pulls into the pit road, Darryl Michaels is your leader. Here they come to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is once again back in the air. We don't have much time left in stage 2, by the way. Looks like the top 4 is starting to break away as there's a car length gap between the 14 of Lab and the 65 of Ingram. Here comes Trey Smith down to the inside, side by side for second as he goes underneath the 11 of Steve Gates. Now, he's trying to get to the back bumper, the 37 of Michaels. Here comes Michael Lab Jr. along with. He's trying to get to the back bumper, the 40, and try to give him a push, even though they're not the same manufacturer. But here comes Trey Smith in the Trackhouse Racing number 40, trying to take the lead away and possibly win the stage. And here comes Smith in that bright yellow Menards car. He's going to try to clear the 37 for the lead as they head into turn 4. He's going to do it. New leader, Trey Smith. He's already been out front today, but he wants some more. As here they come, we got a couple of cars pulling into the pit road. But anyways, 2 to go in stage 2. Can Trey Smith hang on? Here comes Michael Lab Jr. with the run. He's got Julius Anderson in the 20 right behind him. Here comes Matthew Ingram as well. Could he potentially try to pull off the upset? Here comes the 43 of Donnie Owens right behind him. Couple of underdogs peeking their way into the top 10 late in stage 2, trying to get some stage points. Well, not Matthew Ingram. He's ineligible because he's running full-time in the Gillette Series. He just wants a good day. As here comes Darryl Michaels trying to make a crossover move on Trey Smith. As he goes down to the inside, can he reclaim the lead from the 40? It looks like he's going to do it. Here comes Matthew Ingram up in the 3rd. Can he potentially try to steal this stage win? As the field heads into the tri-oval, heading to the start-finish line, 1 lap to go in stage 2. Who's going to get that green and white checkered flag and earn themselves a playoff point? Will it be Michaels, Smith, Anderson maybe, or someone else? Side by side for 3rd between Anderson and Ingram as the top 2 are single file. There's Jack Lawton in the 41 trying to make his presence known. He's running in 5th as Michaels is still trying to hang on. He was scheduled to start on pole but had to go to the rear due to being involved in that big crash in his duel. But he has made his way back up to the front. Can he try to win the stage? As Anderson is moving up into 3rd, he's trying to catch up to the 40 of Trey Smith and get behind him. Can he get a run? Oh no, it looks like he's going in the pits. As well as Michael Hobbs. Here they come to the line. It's going to be our pole sitter, Darryl Michaels, winning stage 2 of the Daytona 500. Darryl Michaels, despite having to drop to the rear, still manages to get the stage 2 win. Here are your stage 2 results. Darryl Michaels wins the stage and gets himself a playoff point. Trey Smith 2nd. Jack Lawton third, Ryan Labonte fourth, Casey Nanako fifth, Matthew Ingram sixth, Steve Gates seventh. How about Donnie Owens in eighth? Then it's Michael Lab Jr. and David Quintanar rounding out the top 10. And now we only have one stage left, y'all. This is it. Who is going to bring home a Harley J. Earl trophy as the field heads to the Geico restart zone? Green flag back in the air. Michael has the nose ahead. Will he try to pull out in front of Trey Smith in the 40? As he's still on the inside, Jack Lawton in the 41. Another Ford driver might help him. As he's going to push the 37 to the lead. As everyone is side by side, double file. As we got a little bit of three wide. As the field heads down the back straightaway, Darrell Michaels has cleared Trey Smith for the lead. As Jack Lawton gave him a pretty good push. Will the two Fords work together despite driving for different teams? But he's no longer clear of the 40 of Trey Smith as he's got to run with Ryan Labonte and Matthew Ingram right behind him. He's got two Chevys right behind him compared to the one Ford that Darrell Michaels has behind him. But despite that, he's still going to clear Trey Smith for the lead as they head into the tri-oval. Darrell Michaels looking strong later on in this race. But here comes Smith once again with Ryan Labonte in the 95 pushing him to the front. Labonte, your defending Daytona 500 winner, is going to push the 40 to the front. He's trying to clear Michaels for the lead as Jack Lawton is going to go through the middle. He's probably going to get stuck back. Here comes the 90 of Casey Nanako with Steve Gates right behind him. All the manufacturers are starting to work together in this final stage as there's a Chevy on top, a Ford in the middle, and a Toyota on the bottom. As Trey Smith is out to a pretty good lead, Ryan Labonte trying to clear for second, but here comes Casey Nanako in the 90 down to the bottom. He's got Steve Gates pushing him. And here comes the 90, trying to get a big run and a big push, and he's up to second. Now, can he try to take the lead away from Trey Smith, whose lead is up to a car length over the 90? We got three wide, trying to make it four wide is the 14 of Michael Lab Jr. Can he do it? I'm not sure if he can, because like I've said before, four wide usually doesn't work at Daytona, but he's going to try to make it work this time. Here comes the 14 with Michael Lab Jr. with a huge run. He's got his teammate, defending champion Jackson Patrick, right behind him in the 10. And another teammate of his, John Doe, in the 4, right behind Patrick. The Stewart Haas guys are working together late. But here comes Nanako with a huge run. He goes down to the bottom, up in front of Michael Lab Jr. He's trying to take the lead away. Can Spark Motorsports win in their first race? We got 18 laps to go, so we got quite a bit of time until the finish. But here comes Smith with another run, trying to go up high. But Nanako's going to lead this lap a whole lot of three wide right behind him. As everyone except the 90 is 3 by 3 by 3. But here comes John Doe in the 4. He's going to go down to the inside and try to take the lead away from Nanako. He's got Hudson Chaffee in the 60 right behind him. Can Doe take the lead? Yes, he will. He clears the 90. But here comes Hudson Chaffee in the 60, trying to get a run and take the lead away from John Doe in that Colleague Racing number 60 car. Will John Doe be able to block him? No, he won't. Here comes the 60 of Hudson Chaffee to the lead. He's side by side with the 4, and it looks like he's probably going to clear him. He hasn't cleared him yet. But here comes Carl Yaley in the 22, trying to push him to the front. Still side by side for the lead in the Daytona 500. Hudson Chaffee, actually no, John Doe is going to lead that lap. Hudson Chaffee still in second. But now, here comes rookie Carl Yaley, trying to go down to the bottom, trying to make it 3 wide for the lead in that Penske number 22. Yaley, who took over for the now retired Michael Waltrip, is going to take the lead of the Daytona 500. He started dead last in 43rd, and he's now up front. But can he hang on? As here comes Brett Wilson in the 18 down to the bottom. He's got Justin Brewer in the 31 right behind him. But here comes Brewer now, trying to make it 4 wide for second. As John Doe's slipping back, here comes the 31 of Brewer trying to take the lead. And it looks like there's still 3 wide for the lead, with Brett Wilson in the 18 in the middle trying to side draft Yaley. And I can't even tell who led that lap. I'm 100% sure it's Wilson, though. As now Justin Brewer has the nose ahead in that 31 car for Richard Childress Racing. And it looks like he's going to clear the 18. or at least try to, as he's got Eric Keplinger in the 15 right behind him. And now he's cleared the 18 of Wilson. Justin Brewer out front in the Daytona 500. But here comes Eric Keplinger getting antsy, as well as the one of Landon Smith Jr. They're side by side for the lead. It's Brewer and Wilson up front. Good gosh, I sound like Porky Pig. But anyways, here comes Landon Smith Jr. down to the bottom, trying to take third. As behind him is the 12 of Alistair Cole. Can he push the one to the front? As the 18 and 31 are still side-drafting each other, side by side for the lead. Now Wilson is going to try to clear the 31. He hasn't quite done so yet, but here comes the one of Smith. Will he try to push the 31 of Brewer to the lead, or it looks like he's going to go down to the bottom and try to take the lead himself? We have a new contender for the lead and potentially the win, and that's Landon Smith Jr. in the one for Trackhouse. 3 wide for the lead as they head down the back straightaway. It's 2 Chevys and a Toyota. Not anymore, as Wilson barely clears Brewer for the lead. But here come the 2 Chevys once again. Mainly Landon Smith Jr. He's got a stronger run. So does Alistair Cole in the 12, trying to push the one to the front. As the driver of the number 1 is trying to be number 1 here at Daytona. As once again, the 3 wide for the lead coming to the start-finish line. And looks like Brett Wilson might have led that lap. However, Landon Smith Jr. appears to have the stronger car out of the 3 drivers out front. And he's going to try to clear Brewer and Wilson for the lead. A few laps earlier, it was his teammate, whose last name is also Smith, that is Trey Smith, who was out front. And now, it's Landon Smith Jr. taking the lead of the Daytona 500. But behind him is a pair of Fords, Alistair Cole in the 12 and Chris Beasley in the 6. Beasley, I believe, was involved in a crash earlier today, and he's made his way back up into the top 10 in that number 6 for RFK Racing. As they are still 3 wide for the lead. When will it stop? I'm not sure. But Smith, I think, had the nose out front. Here comes Justin Brewer with another run, and he's going to take the lead away from Landon Smith Jr. But here comes Wilson with another huge run with Carl Yaley in the 22 right behind him. As they head into turns 1 and 2, it looks like the inside lane where Landon Smith Jr. has the advantage, as he's going to be able to clear the 31 and 18. Now, will he be able to go up and block the 18? Doesn't look like it, as they both have run. Come on, Alistair Cole, try to push that one to the front. Let him clear you, but here comes the 18 of Wilson. He's going to clear Smith for the lead, as he's going to try to go down to the bottom to block Landon Smith Jr. in the 1. As they head on a turn 4, Wilson will prevail. He's actually our most recent winner, as he won the Season 1 finale at Cleveland, and now he's trying to win the big one, the biggest race of the season, that is the Daytona 500. As now he's got a huge lead over the field, as we've said all the time. You don't want to get too big of a lead on a super speedway, because the runs will come from everywhere. But that 18 is looking strong, as we got a crash. Daryl Michaels into the outside wall. Chase Powers and Cameron Davison also caught up in it. The caution is out. As you saw, the 94 of James Stapleton was also involved, as well as David Quintanar. Here's how it happened. So it looks like the 86 of Davison actually turned the 37 of Michaels and then turned the 21 of Powers. This is the second wreck that Cameron Davison has caused today, as that 86 has been a wrecking ball. He hasn't crashed anyone on purpose, though. As you see, he was behind the 37 of Daryl Michaels, who just won Stage 2. And just like Paul Brandison Jr., he hooked him, and that sent the 37 into the 75 of David Quintanar and then into the outside wall. And after that happened, the 86 came down and then into the 21 of Chase Powers, and he slammed the outside wall. Pretty hard lick by the Wood Brothers 21. Then Davison got into the wall as well. He should be able to continue, though. Hope he doesn't cause another wreck. But anyways, that absolutely sucks for Daryl Michaels. He was scheduled to start on pole, but had to go to the rear. Then he made his way back up to the front and won Stage 2. And now he got shuffled to the back of the pack and got caught up in a crash. Also, you see the 94 of James Stapleton getting caught up. He's teammates with Daryl Michaels. And also caught up was our defending Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Labonte, in the 95, as well as the 65 of Matthew Ingram. As here's one more slow-mo shot from above. As from this angle, it looks like the 86 made contact with the 37, and that got him loose, and then eventually turned into the outside wall. And then Davison came down into the 21 of Powers and turned him into the outside wall. I don't know what Cameron Davison is trying to do, but it didn't result in a very good outcome. As now, we're getting ready to restart with Brett Wilson, your leader, followed by Carl Yaley second, Justin Brewer third. I believe Landon Smith Jr. is in fourth, and Hudson Chaffee in fifth. Green flag back in the air. Hopefully our most recent caution is the last one of the race, as we got a car going down the inside trying to make a move. I believe that's the 6 of Chris Beasley. He's going to go down underneath the 12 of Alistair Cole. As here comes Justin Brewer going down underneath Carl Yaley. He's got a huge run. Will Landon Smith go with him? Yes, he will. Trying to take the lead away from Brett Wilson is the 31 of Justin Brewer. He's got help from Landon Smith Jr. And right behind Smith is the 60 of Hudson Chaffee, trying to make some noise in that colleague number 60 car. This is the first full season for colleague racing in the Celsius Cup Series, and Hudson Chaffee wants to start it off with a bang, as he's helping the 1 and the 31, as the 31 of Brewer is going to clear the field for the lead of the Daytona 500. Once the field crosses the start-finish line, we'll only have 6 laps to go, so time is running out if these drivers want to make a move. As Smith is going to go down to the inside, try to take the lead away from Brewer. They're side-by-side for the lead, heading into turn 1. Smith's got an excellent push from the 60 of Chaffee. Will he be able to clear the 31? Looks like he will as they head out of turn 2. Now is he going to go up to block the 31? Doesn't look like it, as the 31 has another big run. Still side-by-side for the lead, down the back straightaway. Brewer's got a big push from the 18 of Wilson. He's going to clear the 1 of Smith. But here comes Smith once again. He is not giving up. Boy, does he want to win this race. In fact, everyone wants to win this race. We're just wondering who will be the one that wins the race. As Brewer has cleared Smith for the lead, Justin Brewer looking for a good start to Season 2 as he finished 30th in the Season 1 standings, as he did not have a good season at all. His best finish was 7th at Destin, and that was his only top 10 of the season. He was in contention to win the Daytona 500 last season, but he got caught up in a hard crash during an overtime attempt. But now he's looking for redemption. And here comes Wilson down to the inside, side-by-side for the lead as they head down the back straightaway once again. As after this restart, we haven't been seeing a lot of 3-wide action compared to the start of this stage, as everyone has calmed down, but that tranquility is temporary, as we only have 5 laps left in this race. And once they cross the line, there's only going to be 4 to go. Brett Wilson clears Brewer for the lead, as here comes, I believe, that's Landon Smith Jr. right behind him, trying to take Brewer side-by-side for second. If Brett Wilson wins this race, he will technically go back-to-back, as he's our most recent winner in the Season 1 finale at Cleveland. In addition to that, he won the second duel. So Wilson's already had some momentum heading into this race. But now, can he finish the job and win the Daytona 500? In the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, the last driver to win their respective duel and the Daytona 500 in the same season was Matt Kenseth in 2012. He won the second duel that season and went on to win the Daytona 500. Wilson is trying to do the same thing here today, but he's got a hungry Justin Brewer right behind him in second. Will he get a run and get to the bumper of the 18 and try to pass him for the lead and potentially the win? But here comes Carl Yaley in the 22. He's looking strong as well, and so is Landon Smith Jr. But time is ticking if these drivers want to earn a Harley J. Earl trophy and put it in their trophy case. 3 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Justin Brewer right on the bumper of the 18 of Wilson. You can lock bumpers in the Cup Series, just not in the Gillette and Truck Series. Here come Brewer and Yaley down to the inside. 3 wide for the lead as they head into turn 2. Yaley with a huge run. How about that? The rookie trying to make some noise early on in his career, as the top 3 have distanced themselves from the field. It's Brewer first, Yaley second, and Wilson has moved down to third. Here comes Yaley in the 22. Will Chris Beasley in the 6, a fellow Ford driver, get to the back bumper of him and push him to the lead? Doesn't look like it, as he's still behind the 18 of Wilson. Here comes Owen Miles down to the inside trying to push Yaley, or maybe even try to make a move for the win in that number 7 Nintendo car. Every single person in the stands is on their feet. Not a single person is sitting down, as we have 2 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Carl Yaley and Justin Brewer are side-by-side for the lead. Owen Miles has a huge run. He's going to try to go down to the inside, try to make it 3 wide for the lead, as he's going to do that. as the Ford of Yaley is going to be sandwiched between two Chevrolets, as Miles is going to take the lead with 2 to go, as he's in the same position he was in last season's Daytona 500, leading late. However, he got passed by Ryan Labonte with 2 to go during overtime, and he would eventually finish 5th. But now, Miles is trying to get the job done and get the win for Xavier Motorsports. As here comes Michael Lapp Jr. in the 14 trying to push him to the lead. Boys and girls, it all comes down to this. As the flagman has the white flag in the air, 1 lap to go, presented by you-know-who. Yaley was leading at the white flag, but Michael Lapp Jr. in the 14th trying to make a desperate move. He goes down below the double yellow line. You cannot pass below there. He's back onto the track, and we got a huge crash. The caution is going to come out, and that'll be it, y'all. The race is over. But now, we got to figure out who was out front at the moment of caution. As there you see Eric Keplinger, the 15, caught up in this wreck, as well as the 6 of Chris Beasley. As you see, Justin Brewer is out front, but I believe Carl Yaley was out front at the moment of caution. But we got to wait on official word from NASCAR to see if it was either Yaley or Brewer that has won the Daytona 500. Let's look at a replay of that crash that happened on the last lap. So it looks like the 14 of Michael Lapp Jr. was trying to make a move, and then he got forced down below the yellow line by Owen Miles, and then he came back onto the track and then into the 10 of Jackson Patrick, his teammate, and then he just ended up collecting a few other cars. You see the 60 of Hudson Chaffee, the 15 of Eric Keplinger. Ooh, pretty significant hit by the 6 of Chris Beasley into Hudson Chaffee, and then you see Cameron Davidson spinning around. Here it is from another angle. Michael Lapp Jr. was definitely forced below the yellow line, and here he comes back onto the track. This is when the big one happens, and it looks like the 22 of Yaley was in front at the moment of caution. We still need confirmation from NASCAR. This will be a big win for the rookie if that is the case. And here's one more angle of the last lap big one, as you see Lab in the 14 getting back onto the track, collecting Jackson Patrick, Frodo Morales, Hudson Chaffee, Chris Beasley, John Doe, and Landon Smith Jr. also getting a piece of it. And we just got word from NASCAR, Carl Yaley, the rookie driving for Team Penske, has won the Daytona 500. What a huge way to start your career. Yaley in the 22, after starting dead last, has gone from worst to first. And he scores his first career Celsius Cup Series win in the biggest race of the schedule. As you see him doing his burnout in the middle of the Daytona logo in the tri-oval. Boy, is he excited and happy to be a Celsius Cup Series winner and a Daytona 500 champion. This is his very first start in the Celsius Cup Series, by the way, as he took over for the now-retired Michael Waddletrip. And just to clarify, he is not related to J.J. Yaley. But still, a huge day for Carl Yaley. It's just like Austin Cindric in 2022. He wins the Great American Race, driving for the captain, Roger Penske. Now, let's look at our results. Carl Yaley gets the W with Justin Brewer barely finishing second. Brett Wilson finishes third. Owen Miles fourth. Michael Lapp Jr. fifth. Shazane Rana with a great sixth-place finish. Then it's Jack Lawton, Bruce Jenkins, Steve Gates, and rounding out the top 10 is Casey Nanako in the 90s. Then it's Dylan Baptiste, Alistair Cole finishing where his car number is in 12th. Then it's Smith, Landon Smith Jr. specifically. Jackson Patrick, our defending champion, coming from 14th. Eric Keplinger 15th, another driver who finished where his car number is. Then Trey Smith, Chaffee, Austin Caldwell completing the top 20. Then we got Chris Beasley, Cameron Davidson, John Gambit, Dalton Bauman, Johnny Owens, Matthew Ingram, Joshua Smith, Sharice Fells, James Simpson, and then rounding out the top 30 is last season's Daytona 500 winner, Ryan Labonte. And then everyone else after Labonte failed to finish the race. You see Darrell Michaels, David Flintonar, Julius Anderson, last season's pole sitter for the 500, and Hobbs, Brandonson Jr., Mick, see Earnhardt back there didn't finish, and then Mason Clements and Darren Dow round out the field. Now let's look at our playoff standings. Because he won this race, Carl Yaley becomes the first driver to lock himself into the playoffs. You see Brett Wilson's in second, Jack Lawton, Dylan Baptiste, Justin Brewer, Owen Miles, where his car number is 7th. And there's Jackson Patrick, our defending champion, 16th in the playoff standings on the cutoff, as Cameron Davidson is just 1 point below him. Then you see John Doe, Aiden Caldwell, and Hudson Chaffee also below the cutoff. Will any of these drivers remain in the playoff standings by the time we get to our regular season finale, which is also at Daytona? We don't know just yet, but only time will tell. And now the regular season point standings are basically the same thing as the playoff standings, with Carl Yearly being your points leader, Brett Wilson second, Jeff Long third, and then so on as Alistair Cole completes the top 10 in points and Hudson Chappie completes the top 20. Now towards the end of the standings, we got some pretty big names. Ryan Labonte in 24th, David Quinton are 30th, Julius Anderson 31st, Mitchell Clements 35th, and then the last three drivers with 0 points are the ones who failed to qualify for today's race. So be sure to stay tuned for race 2 of the NASCAR Celsius Cup Series and Select Series seasons at the Auto Club Speedway. It will be the only race on the 2-mile oval, as that track is currently being turned into a short track, unfortunately, as they should be turning Texas into a short track instead, but it is what it is. So stay tuned for both of those races. I'm going to try not to procrastinate and have them out as soon as possible. So in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching. This is Jonathan M. signing out. Goodbye and have a blessed day.